Hi, this is Seth Yolorda, and I want to welcome you again to the Vision Clarity Leadership Podcast. It's been a while since we've been here, but we're back, and I'm super excited. And in this episode, we're going to talk about that one thing that is really necessary for you to embrace in order for you to raise your level of living and experiencing a higher quality of life, both personally, professionally, and in leadership. Let's go. Hi, my name is Seth Yolorda, and I'm an organizational development consultant. I work with individuals and organizations to really help them experience higher levels of performance. And I want to continue this conversation that we started a few days ago around the topic of goal setting. There have been a number of studies that have been released 20, 30 years ago that's really showed the power and the impact of goal setting. That when you set goals as an individual or as a team, that it increases motivation, it increases performance, it leads to higher levels of success. That goal setting really is on some level the secret sauce or that secret key formula to helping you achieve higher levels of performance. That if you're intentional about setting goals, it actually puts you in a stronger position to achieve those goals than other individuals who may not have been as intentional about setting goals themselves. So in this video, I just want to detail the 5 key principles to setting goals. And this is according to a researcher and theorist, Edwin Locke, who a number of years ago did a lot of research on goal setting. And what he says is that there are basically 5 principles that you need to follow with goal setting. Number 1, that the goals need to be clear. That when you set a goal, it has to be measurable, it has to be comprehensive. You know, you may have heard of SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. That when you set a goal, you have to be clear on what that goal is. You just can't say, I want to lose weight, or you just can't say, I want to get a new job, or you just can't say, I want to save money. You have to be really specific and real measurable, and it has to be a comprehensive goal. How much weight do you want to lose? What type of job do you want to get? How much of a raise do you want? What do you want actually for your family? How many children do you want? Like when you're setting goals, whether it's to grow your family, to grow your finances, or to become healthier, those goals really have to have a level of specificity and clarity in order for them to have a positive effect on your performance. The other thing he says is that the goal must be challenging. Interestingly enough, the more difficult the goal, the more you will raise your standard to actually achieve that goal. Now, there is a threshold where the goal becomes so unbelievable that it actually has a diminishing return on your performance. So, for example, if you have never run before and then you say to yourself, I'm going to run an ultra marathon, which is like 100 miles next week. Okay, you've never even run before and you're going to go run 100 miles? That is probably not achievable without you dying in the process. But if you say, I want to do an ultra marathon in 6 months, then that creates a time bound and it's challenging enough because running a marathon 20 something miles within 6 months is hard enough. If you're going to try to do 100 miles in 6 months, well, yeah, that's really challenging, but it might still fall within the threshold of not being discouraging, especially if you take action on it. So you want your goals to be challenging, but you don't want them to be so challenging that even the idea of it has a negative effect upon your performance and it leaves you, rather than encouraged, it leaves you discouraged. So you want your goals to be clear and you also want your goals to be challenging. The third thing he said is that you have to have a level of commitment to reaching those goals. How dedicated are you to actually achieving them? And what does that dedication look like? So not only does the goal have to be clear, but it also has to be challenging and you have to be committed to the goal. Now, commitment goes hand in hand with your values. Why do you want to achieve this goal? If the goal is to run 100 miles, well, why do you want to run 100 miles? If it's to raise money for your child who's dying of leukemia, then you are going to be committed to it. But if it's just for bragging rights to your buddies, that goal may not be strong enough. Your level of commitment may not be strong enough to the why behind that goal for you to actually achieve it. If you go to the doctor and the doctor says, hey, you're dying, and if you don't get your health in order, you only have that reality of your mortality may be a strong enough motivator to get you to become committed to that goal. Now, it's different for everyone, but one way to make sure that you are committed to your goals is to really tap into the why behind why you want this goal. What's driving you? How does this goal align with your values? What are your values? And are you clear on those values that are driving this goal? So not only does the goal have to be clear and it has to be challenging, you have to be committed to the goal. And then he said the fourth thing is that you have to receive feedback on the goal. Positive feedback from your family, from your friends, from your community is a strong motivator to help you to continue to press on towards that goal. So if you're trying to lose weight and your friends say, hey, you look like you're losing weight, that positive feedback is going to keep you going. If you stand in the mirror and you can start to see some definition in your shoulders or in your arms, that positive feedback is going to keep you going. If your boss comes and says, hey, I really like how you're doing X, Y, and Z, that positive feedback is going to keep you going. And so you have to make sure you're surrounding yourself really with individuals who are aware of your goal and who are reinforcing your commitment to achieve your goal with positive feedback. So number one, the goal must be clear. It must be challenging. You must be committed to it. You have to receive positive feedback about that goal. And last but not least is complexity. Complexity speaks to the difficulty of the task. If I know that I want to, for example, climb Mount Everest, but I live in Texas and there's no hills for me to even practice on, I don't have anything that's going to help me prepare to climb Mount Everest, then just by nature of where I live, it's going to be very hard for me to train for this. And yes, I can go running and I can probably find some place where I can try to train on a treadmill or a gym, but recognizing that the complexity of climbing Mount Everest in relationship to where I currently live, which is like this very flat land, it's going to make that goal extremely difficult. And so really understanding, okay, what's going to be required of me to achieve this goal? How simple of a task is it, or how complex of a task is it in light of my current situation? So when you're setting goals and you're trying to achieve something of significance, just understand that there's several principles that go into whether or not you will be successful in achieving those goals and therefore be successful at performing at a high level. Is the goal clear? Is it challenging? Are you committed to it? Are you receiving positive feedback? And how complex is actually achieving that goal? If you take all of those things into consideration, it'll really position you for higher levels of success in achieving that goal, and it will lead to positive outcomes. If this video was helpful, I would love for you to like it, subscribe, and share it with a family member or a friend, someone that you know is striving to achieve a goal in their personal, maybe even professional life, and that this video can help them as well. See you next time. Peace.